Okay, let's dive right into this explainer on one of the most epic and honestly tragic alliances in all of Scottish history. We're going to unpack a story that spans centuries. It's a tale defined by a massive rise in territorial power in the Inner Hebrides, which was then followed by an uncompromising and totally ruinous devotion to the Stuart monarchs. We are, of course, talking about the dynastic synergy between Clan MacLean and the House of Stuart.
So what drives a family to literally sacrifice everything they have for a doomed king? It's a heavy question, right? We're exploring how Clan MacLean's unwavering, completely ideological loyalty to the Stuart monarchs brought them incredible prestige within the royal court, but ultimately led to their devastating ruin. You see, this wasn't just some pragmatic political alliance. This was a deep ideological bond that caused the MacLeans to prioritize kinship and honor way above their own survival.
Mapping this all out, we're looking at a wildly chaotic century of conflict, where every escalating commitment just tightly bound Clan MacLean to the Stuart crown. It all kicks off with a royal recognition in 1631, moves through the absolute bloodbath at the Battle of Inverkeithing in 1651, continues with their fierce defiance at Killiecrankie in 1689, and finally hits a tragic climax at Culloden in 1746. Every single one of these dates is a pivotal moment where the MacLeans essentially doubled down on their loyalty.
The spark of loyalty. To really understand how this all ends, we have to look at the catalyst for this tragic hero's journey.
The actual mechanism of this political shift is super fascinating. Back in 1631, King Charles I granted Sir Lachlan MacLean the title of Baronet of Nova Scotia. Now, this wasn't just some fancy, meaningless title. It was the very first formal royal recognition of the Duart line by the king. This moment in 1631 was an absolute game-changer. It transitioned the MacLeans from being pragmatic Hebridean warlords, guys who used to just rebel against the crown whenever it suited them, into these deeply committed ideological royalists. It forged a reciprocal bond of honor that the MacLean chiefs would, quite literally, never break.
Another for Hector. Jumping ahead to 1651, we hit the Battle of Inverkeithing, where the grim reality of this loyalty was fiercely put to the test.
Imagine you're there and ask yourself, how far would you actually go to protect your leader? During the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, the MacLeans fought as royalists against Oliver Cromwell's New Model Army. We're talking about a desperate rearguard action where the young chief, Sir Hector MacLean, found his life in immediate peril. They were completely surrounded by overwhelming parliamentary cavalry, fighting a desperate defense just to cover the retreat of the royalist army. As the enemy closed in, the clansmen did something unbelievable. They formed a protective circle, literally stepping directly in front of musket fire to shield their chief, all while shouting this immortal, chilling war cry, Thir Eile Ersin Akin, which translates from Scottish Gaelic to another for Hector. As one man fell, another instantly stepped up to take his exact place. It's a legendary display of devotion that still defines MacLean military culture today.
Astonishingly, historical records show that 7 foster brothers sequentially sacrificed their lives in this exact manner before Sir Hector himself was finally cut down, covered in wounds. Just think about that. 7 men voluntarily stepping into a hail of musket bullets, giving everything, just to buy their leader a few more seconds of life.
And the sheer scale of this devotion was staggering. 500 of the 800 MacLeans who entered that battle were left dead on the field. To put that terrifying percentage into perspective, way more than half of their entire force was wiped out in a single engagement, all to protect their chief and serve the Stuart cause. The exiled court's peerage. Despite that absolute massacre, the MacLeans remained fiercely loyal, eventually spilling the first blood for the Jacobite cause at the Battle of Killiecrankie.
So at Killiecrankie in 1689, Sir John MacLean, the 20th chief, was commanding the right wing of the Jacobite army, and his battlefield acumen was so incredibly impressive that the opposing monarch, King William III, actually reached out and offered him a command in the British army. But, and here's the crucial point, MacLean firmly rejected this super lucrative, totally secure offer. Instead, he chose to join the exiled Stuart court in France. He literally chose exile over compromising his loyalty.
This steadfast loyalty certainly didn't go unnoticed. In 1716, the Old Pretender, James Francis Edward Stuart, rewarded Sir Hector MacLean, the 5th Baronet, with a special Jacobite peerage, making him Lord MacLean. Now, while that original 1631 baronetcy was legally recognized by the British Crown, this new lordship carried immense ideological weight, even though it meant absolutely zero legally under the ruling Hanoverian government. It basically functioned as this powerful badge of fidelity, cementing the clan's elite status within the whole exiled Stuart court structure.
The tragedy at Culloden. We now arrive at the devastating, heartbreaking climax of this alliance during the Jacobite Rising of 1745.
By 1746, this multi-generational loyalty reached its final fall at Culloden. The reigning chief, Sir Hector, had actually been arrested for recruiting in Edinburgh and was locked up in the Tower of London. But get this, even without their chief, 500 MacLeans still marched under a deputy leader, Charles MacLean of Drimnin, straight on to those bloody, fateful fields.
The cost of betting on the wrong political horse was total, undeniable ruin. Culloden was a catastrophic defeat that crushed Stuart restoration hopes forever. The MacLeans suffered horrific losses during the battle itself, and even more in the Duke of Cumberland's brutal massacres the next day. Royal warfare reeks of politics, right? And because the MacLeans lost, they were systematically stripped of their lands, their weapons, and their gold. It kicked off a staggering 221 years of exile from their traditional homeland, the complete ruin of their ancestral holdings.
An enduring Highland legacy. Yet, incredibly, from the ashes of Culloden and centuries of dispossession, the spirit of the MacLeans refused to be extinguished.
They lost their wealth and their lands for over 2 centuries, but their unyielding honor, that survived. This incredible endurance is beautifully symbolized by the restoration of their ancestral seat, Duart Castle, in the early 20th century by Sir Fitzroy Donald MacLean. The castle, which had been a ruin for so long, stands today as this massive physical testament to the fact that while the political gambles of the past completely failed, the core identity of the clan endured.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Does a 200-year loss of their homeland make their loyalty a profound tragedy? Or does the immortal cry of "another for Hector" make it an eternal triumph? Because if the history of Clan MacLean proves anything, it's that some bonds of loyalty echo far, far louder than defeat.